Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Friday the 11th of September.
Welcome to this special Rise and Shine Rwanda weekly review show, where we take you back through the best of the week here at Rise and Shine Rwanda. It's just gone 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Fidelis Karangwa.
And I'm Regis Isheja. Over the next hour, we'll bring you a review of this week's top stories, analysis, debates, and insights into the stories making headlines here in Rwanda and across the world. Now, the Rise and Shine crew have throughout the week been diligently gathering and preparing everything you need to know about what's happening here in Rwanda and around the world. Well, it's been a busy week for us here at the Rise and Shine headquarters. One of the most interesting stories that I reported on this week was Kwitizina, the 11th annual Kwitizina themed Conserving Now and to the Future and for the Future. So the naming of 24 baby gorillas, the highest number since the launch of the ceremony in 2005. With His Excellency President Paul Kagame as the guest of honor, 30,000 people in attendance, including 500 foreign guests representing 26 countries. This year's ceremony also served as an opportunity to present 6 awards in honor of conservation efforts. Let's take a look back.
Baturage rero ubwo ibyo bibageraho kandi mwumva ko uwo mutungo bafitiye akamaro mukomerezaho mukagira ibikorwa bishyigikira uwo mutungo kugira ngo utubuke kubiwuvamo, hanyuma mwubakireho mukore n'ibindi. Turashaka gutera imbere, murabizi nibwo butumwa iteka mbazanira nicyo kiganiro cya buri munsi. Ntabwo abanyarwanda twaremewe kuba abakene. Kuba abakene sinirwa mbisobanura, murabizi. Hari abaturanyi bo muri DRC, abaturanyi bo muri Uganda, ndetse n'abaturanyi bandi bo hirya bo mu bihugu bya Afurika, duhuriyeho byinshi kandi baje kwifatanya natwe. Turabashimira, ndetse n'abavuye ahandi mu zindi ntara z'isi nabo twishimiye kuba turi kumwe nabo uyu munsi.
It's a great great report there, Hejis. Now tell us, what was your take on this year's Kwitizina? Did you think it went well compared to the rest that happened before?
I think this year, more than any other year since 2005, it was very vibrant. The fact that we had, thousands of people in attendance, the fact that we had people coming from 26 countries, media from all over the world. I mean, the coverage was, unprecedented.
Yes.
And then on top of that, the 24 baby gorillas that were named, it's become a really big deal because remember, we're only one or three countries that still have mountain gorillas worldwide. So it's the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and Rwanda. So, it's a big deal. A lot of events happen around the main events, around Kwitizina. You had traditional dances the day before, a cultural retreat. A lot was learned, and we're a country that's very dependent on tourism.
Yes,
tourism
yes.
is a big deal. We're very tourism driven when it comes to our economy. So it was a big deal. A lot of great speeches, and and the population came out in throngs. I mean, it was thousands and thousands of people, so it was pretty good.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, I mean, me and you and maybe lots of people in Kigali have access to the internet, to media, so they've learned the importance of conservation. But would you say that the Mturaje back in the village down there understands what their part is towards this main goal as trying to conserve these gorillas that have become very scarce in the world?
Well, Fidelis, I'm glad that you're actually bringing that up, because during the president's speech, he thanked not only the foreign, our neighboring countries, the DRC and Uganda, for collaborating greatly with Rwanda, but on top of that, he thanked the population because this is shared revenue that comes back ultimately to them. So they're in charge of their surroundings, they're in charge of their environments, they're in charge of protecting the environment. And the greater aspect of the whole thing is knowing that they'll get the money that comes from it. Whichever way you say that, RDB was very eloquent in talking about it. Ambassador Yamina Karitanyi, Chief Tourism Officer, was there, and she pinpointed that and said it's great, the fact that people living in Kinigi, people living in Muhabura and close to there are actually seeing the dividends, getting the dividends from what's happening. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think it was a great event. I'm glad it went well. So I'm looking forward to next year's.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward. Are we going next year? Do you want to go?
For sure.
It's a lot of things. Like
For sure.
You can do. You can do.
There's like a whole package of things you can do. Canopy walk. You can do all these
Have
things,
you ever
right?
been to the?
I've not. I'm dying
volcano?
to.
You
I'm
haven't?
dying to.
You haven't seen the
No,
gorillas
no,
up close and personal?
no.
That's
quite
a shame.
ashamed. Thank you for blowing me and letting the whole world
it's
know,
the,
right?
the little
on live
voice in
TV.
my ear that told me to ask you. But when you see this many people actually, showing up,
Yes.
wanting to be part of this whole thing,
Yes.
and even on social media. I mean, if you were on Twitter and Facebook,
And the fun part is not just people in Rwanda; it's people from all around the world.
Right.
I mean, even just last week or the week before that, I was reading through a magazine in the United States, and they were talking about Kwitizina.
Absolutely.
And it's just one of those things that have been catching on to the rest of the world, and such an amazing initiative.
it's an amazing thing. And another thing that I like is the scenery. I mean, when you're in Kinigi and you realize you're surrounded by, it's not just fog. I mean, there's the volcanoes, the mountains, the hills. But on top of that, it's a scenery. It's a beautiful scenery. You have tea. You have all these things that we can actually sell. So tourism has become a very important thing, as I said. And, the fact that we can all go there for one weekend, celebrate it on this Saturday of the weekend, is a great deal. And one other thing that the president talked about, which you alluded to when you were talking about, are people's, in the surroundings getting something from it.
Because I know they've been trying to get people to do a bit more of community tourism so they can exploit events like this and maximize them.
The president used the forum to also talk about being poor. He said there is no reason why our population should be poor when we have this much wealth. And he actually made sure to talk about those who say, well, Rwanda has no minerals,
Yes.
Rwanda has no oil. He said, well, we have things that other countries do not have, like gorillas. And, this should be, something where we take pride in and, make something out of it. And, if we're making it work 1 year and then 5 years after, people are still coming.
Yes.
And this is something that has been going on for 10 years. So clearly it has been working.
Hey, great initiative.
Oh,
I love it. It's a great report there. I mean, Kwitizina is the highlight of everyone's year lately. It's a it thing to
Last
attend,
weekend
yeah?
there was a lot going on. Kwitizina, Rwanda, the Ghana versus Rwanda game, but you know, Kwitizina was the main headline, and I'm very happy with the success.
Rwanda is an
once again.
action-packed country, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, another story that really caught our attention this week was the Road Safety Month, aimed at further sensitizing road users on traffic rules and enforce road safety. Rwanda's Road Safety Month, the 2015 edition, is now in full action. With an emphasis on preventing accidents, drivers and commercial motorists have been put in sport of their recklessness that led to loss of lives. This is an opportunity for the Rwanda National Police and our population to exchange and reflect on road safety. Let's take a look back.
World Traffic Month is conducted countrywide under the theme Respect Traffic Rules, Save Lives. The campaign aims at enhancing road users' knowledge on traffic rules with a view to prevent accidents and other road dangers.
Ubuzima buzira impanuka, twirinde kumugara tumugajwe n'impanuka, kuko ibi bikorwa byose dukeneye kubibamwo, birakorerwa twebwe, ntago bikorerwa cyangwa ngo bibe imbarutso yo guteza impanuka cyangwa kwica abantu, ubwo ni imbarutso yo kugira ngo tubeho dukomeze dutere imbere.
Umuyobozi wa polisi, transport associations, drivers, community leaders, and insurers among other stakeholders. In Traffic Month, the National Police is working closely with the public to eradicate fatal accidents. The key message here is that in partnership with all road users, it is possible to counter road accidents. More road safety. Read Ishega, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Atangiza ku mugaragaro ku kwezi, Minisitiri w'Ubutegetsi bw'Igihugu Francis Kaboneka yasabye abaturage kugira uruhare mu kwirinda impanuka.
And joining us in studio now is Afande Celestin Twahirwa. All right, Afande, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. First of all, the fact that being safe on the roads is a priority for the Rwanda National Police, but it should also be a priority for the everyday Rwandan. And this month, especially, it's there to actually remind us of how important it is to be safe, right?
That's right. It is true that today we have launched an annual road safety campaign, which is actually a monthly campaign. It will be running from today 7th to the 7th of next month. It is meant to augment the understanding of road users on the road safety rules and regulations and the road safety precautions, and to remind them their responsibility as road users, especially drivers, riders, and the pedestrians. So when they meet on the road, they should meet and separate safely, not clash, those are the issues that we have been experiencing, and we want people to know more about use of road and safe driving.
Now, I love having you on the show. This is the second time because not only are you very knowledgeable, but you also are in touch with the everyday Rwandan, like we were just saying. And for example, when we are at roundabouts, it feels like priority is still a problem for a lot of drivers. They still do not understand who has priority, who doesn't. Is this something that you've taken up with drivers to explain to them that yes, motorists have their way of understanding things, but there's certain rules that have to be applied?
Yeah, that's true. Everybody is allowed to drive, is allowed to be on the road after acquiring a driving license. And acquiring a driving license is a process. One has to learn, has to be tested, and after qualifying, then the person is given driving license. This process must be followed very well for everybody to be a driver or a rider using a motorcycle or something. But what surprises is that at times we realize that these people are not following the rules and regulations that they had prior to driving. So this is what we are trying to do, to make sure that those who are driving can actually respect traffic rules and save life.
Now, year in and year out, would you say that we're having less accidents or they've multiplied over the years?
When you are looking at the number of accidents and comparing them with previous year accidents and the year before, there are so many factors. One is the number of vehicles on the road. Two is the number of drivers entering the road every year, and then the number of accidents. So to look at those factors, you realize there is a decrease. But the rate of decrease we want is more than this, because we need to save more lives, we need to protect more property, we need to avoid all these unnecessary destruction of infrastructure. There are so many things that we lose when we experience accidents. For example, when you look at the accident that we experienced this year, since January to July, we had about 285 accidents. And within those 285, we lost 200 lives. And we had about 400 injuries. So it costs money to treat these people. It costs the government putting in place infrastructure that is always being affected by those accidents. It affects the economy in general. And for us, we want things to move at a good pace. When you start something, you don't have to be pulled back by something else. And this is what we are looking at. So we are trying to educate people, to remind them their responsibility, give them advice, and show them the right way to do things. So the whole month will be actually characterized by teaching, explaining, gathering people to discuss some of these issues, going to schools, painting some of the road signs like zebra crossing and this line that separates different lanes of the road. Looking at all these things that can affect the safe driving and safe use of the road in general.
Now, certain mentalities, of course, have to change. For example, recently, a couple of weeks ago, we had the car-free zone being implemented in the city of Kigali. Now, you still have certain pedestrians who are still, struggling with the whole concept, who are still walking on sidewalks when the streets are free. And then on top of that, there's been some complaints about parkings, in neighboring streets, neighboring roads. Is there a solution for that?
The solution is there. There is always a tendency of resistance to change. And this is very common in every society, because people do not know exactly what is going to follow. But always a positive change will become a culture as soon as possible. People need to know that in developing countries, we need to develop, and we develop step by step. At this stage, we need to have a place which is free for people to walk, people to stand on the side of the road and surf with their phone or whatever, where people can move freely without fear of accidents and what. And they will be able to access the service they want. Banks, supermarkets, and all these services within that area. So it is something very common in other countries. So for us, it is starting, and the people, of course, will have to first understand that it's something starting, must be learned, must be understood. It will take time for people to know that. But this time shouldn't be big, it shouldn't be big, because it's something positive. So very soon we will see people liking it and actually proposing some other areas. Of recent, I saw like two tweets, people proposing some other places. So maybe it will be liked very soon.
Right. The city of Kigali has talked about other streets also that might be closed in the near future. Now, another subject that the population wants to talk about when we're talking about safety is motor drivers. I mean, there's this thing where a lot of people have called them reckless, that they're not afraid of anything, that they drive through traffic like they always have priority. Is there any measure the Rwanda National Police is intending on applying to help that situation?
Yeah, there are measures, but to begin with, the first measure is this one of the campaign we are conducting currently. To conduct a campaign, to talk to them, to make them understand that behaving responsibly on the road is something necessary for each road user. So what we are doing is to always come closer to them, look at what they are doing correctly and what they are doing wrongly, advise, and actually, when it becomes, frequent and somebody is receiving this in this case, then some measures are taken, punishment, in terms of, telling them you have to follow this, and if you don't, these are the corresponding, fines and other charges. So what is happening that we are working with them to create their cooperatives and make sure that each of the motorcyclists belongs to one of the cooperatives. And these cooperatives have got their own responsibility in managing them, and this is helping too much. It has changed their life. It is helping them, first of all, and it is helping police to mitigate the impact of the mistakes they are committing along the road.
No.
So we have a belief that very soon a number of them will be doing it correctly, and we have seen some good results since we started, advising them, teaching them how to conduct themselves along the road. Looking for passengers should be done in a manner that is not reckless.
Now moving on, between now and the 8th of October, what are the activities that the population should be looking forward to commemorate this month?
Yeah, there are so many activities. Some of them will be activities to do with, talking to focus groups. We'll be targeting some groups, especially groups of drivers, groups of motorists, and the owners of vehicles, because they should be responsible to see that the drivers they have do qualify and respect traffic laws. We will also have activities like, drawing some of these lines that have faded in the road, helping people to understand exactly what is supposed to be done along the road, especially pedestrians. We'll be talking to pedestrians as well. We're going to schools, because school-going children, students, pupils need to understand what happens on the road, because they are among road users. And we must also be useful in terms of knowing exactly what is expected of them in the future. So we'll conduct a number of activities, including competitions. We'll be making competitions in schools where students will be competing, for example, on some of the traffic rules. They'll be competing on how they can educate their fellow peers and how they can even pass the message to other people. So there will be a number of activities geared towards understanding exactly what is required of any road user.
Well, I found it quite good. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I cannot wait for next time.
We really needed that, don't we?
Absolutely. I'm very happy every time we have Afande Celestin Twahirwa on our couch. He's full of knowledge.
Lots of insight, yeah.
Absolutely, and it's great to know what the police is doing with our population, how much they're trying to be in touch and educate them on road safety. This is great.
We need it. Like I said, action-packed country, we need safety at the same time.
You're watching this special review edition of Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
All right, welcome back to the Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review. Now, there were some big business stories in the news this week, from business competitions to local entrepreneurs.
Now, with so many businesses arising in the Rwandan market every day, the idea of a business group is still quite new to the Rwandan community. So in case you're wondering, how exactly do they work? Well, we have the answers for you. Let's take a look back at Rwa Business Group.
People is considered the one person in each compared to most successful business owners that we know, and he's still been taking over the business industry that he was attracted to, partly because the belief environment in Rwanda is too attractive to ignore. Since 2012, he and his colleagues have been able to set up a business group with top business companies that have all been running successfully.
Our Business Group is a group of for-profit companies. We have interest in commodities trading, one of our subsidiaries imports sugar and exports coffee. We have a financial services company. It does venture capital, business development, advisory, investment management, as well as investment advisory. And then we have smaller scale subsidiaries in ICT, one called Fikia, we have another one in events called The Republic.
Although competition from the rest of the market has not been one of their worries, many professionals were confident still building its workforce to be able to reach the level of the rest of the region can be a challenge. So how have they been addressing this issue?
For me, the trick is building teams. You get the right people behind a particular project, you share with them the vision, the two of you build the vision, or the three of you or the team build the vision together, and you chart the way forward and you hand it over to them.
That's it. It's not easy to run one business development for at the same time. So is there a trick to mastering these arts in Rwanda?
When we come up with a financial vision for the business, we normally do it collectively. So we look at when it comes to importing sugar, the downtimes in our capital, when we have capital just sitting on accounts, how can we put it in raw capital for short-term financing? How can we take profits and reinvest them? I mean, we're young people, we don't have families to take care of. So all the money we make, we can reinvest.
So in case you were thinking it's too early to get into business, you might want to think again. Remember,
presentation is key. You have to respect the principles of business. You know, in the West, when a young person can go to a board meeting in flip-flops and jeans, in Rwanda, don't dare. Like, even on the continent, don't even dare. People it's a different culture. And when you go into a meeting and you're a professional, first of all, you're on time. You know what you're talking about, and you carry yourself professionally. People actually forget about your age. People are hardly asking me about my age. Hardly. It's me who sometimes has to remind them because they expect certain things from me which are beyond me. You know. But when it comes to just the young people in our team and the challenges we face from being young, I think it's not I don't think young is the challenge. I think it's inexperience that's the challenge. So that's why the on-the-job training works.
And joining us now in studio is Ephraim Wamwenge, the CEO of Rwanda Business Group. Welcome, Ephraim, to the show.
Thank you.
Now, I know the business group has been a success. It's one of the first that we know about here in Rwanda. But do the people know about the business group and do they understand how it works? What has the market response been like so far?
Okay, a business group in regards to the Rwandan market has been a slight challenge because people don't truly understand in the sense of when you tell somebody you do this and you do that and you do that, it seems like you lack focus and you lack direction and you're doing so many things. But people are slowly starting to understand. I think for me, I've had to, when I introduce my business, I've had to segment it. So when somebody asks me what do I do, if it's related to sugar and coffee, I tell them that. If it's related to financial services, I tell them that. If it's related to ICT, I tell them that. Yeah.
Now, I know you just said maybe the confusion can be a challenge, but what are some of the other challenges that you've had to face? I know you're working with 4 different businesses. It can be easy. What do you have to go through every day to make the business a success?
Okay. Business groups need strong teams in order for them to move forward. And I think for us, the biggest challenge has been developing those teams. There's been such a huge gap in regards to what we're trying to achieve and the people that we need to fill those positions, because I cannot run these businesses. So the trick comes in when it comes to hiring the people that we need to put in those positions to run these businesses.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I know that could have been a problem maybe, or I want you to tell me, is I know you also import sugar as one of the businesses. How has that been like for you, especially because we already have a sugar production industry in Rwanda? How has it been like, the competition? How have you been able to regulate that and still find customers for your products?
Okay. Sugar sells itself.
Yes.
Everybody loves sugar. Actually, the more people take of sugar, the more they buy. But in regards to the competition and the market, yes, I was coming to a market that was already saturated, with already big players, much bigger than me. Actually, they still are bigger than me. But There's room for everybody because there's such a huge deficit, and with the middle class growing and consumption levels rising, sugar demand is needed. And mind you, sugar is not just taken in the form of spoons into your tea. It's taken in the form of making your drinks. It's taken in the form of making your bread. Some of the sauces that you put on your table, sugar is put in there. So you find out that it's needed. Even pharmaceutical products like your cough syrups, the market seems to be growing because the economy is growing, the people's incomes are growing. So you find out that sugar in itself, the demand is growing. So we just managed to find our way we've managed to find our way in. We managed to find our niche. And I mean, what's business without competition? Competition makes business fun.
Yes.
So yeah. That's basically it when it comes to the competition.
Now, I know the other thing that you wanted to do was probably very soon, as you had told me you want to get into coffee as well. Will you be working with Rwandan coffee or like, imported coffee? Because I would want our viewers to know, hey, here's good market for you right here waiting. You could call Ephraim right now and get market for your produce. So how do you intend to go about that?
Okay, for us it was mainly export oriented.
Okay.
The beauty about
I'm giving him the eye for you guys.
Yes, please. It's export oriented.
Yes.
We figured that the export market is much bigger than the Rwandan market in terms of where we can sell our product. And we looked at Rwanda and the product that was easiest to sell out of the country. And interestingly enough, coffee is the second most traded commodity after oil. And we're like, we have Rwandan coffee. And the bit about coffee or specialty coffee is that it's a luxury product.
Yes.
Meaning if a customer asks for Rwandan coffee, you can't give them any other coffee. You can't give them Ethiopian coffee or South American coffee. It has to come from Rwanda if somebody asks for Rwandan coffee. So we said, why can't we look into that? Why can't we find an opportunity in exporting Rwandan coffee to the world? Part of also exporting our brand as a nation, you know. We were like, let's represent Rwanda in the business sense, in the commodities trading sense.
Now, the other thing, I mean, you also have coffee. What else can we look out for in the very near future from our business group?
I would say look out for value-added services, some ICT applications. Where we have a really strong team. We have some really good partners. We're trying to. The subsidiary under the business group is called Fikia. Fikia is Swahili for loosely translated access or to arrive at or to reach to. And the idea is how can we give people greater access to the world around them using ICT and the idea of cell phone technology. So we are working tirelessly and endlessly to launch a product that can give people greater access to Kigali. And then beyond that, the country and then even cross-border, but using your cell phone and not even smartphones. That's why I said value-added services, meaning that's the USSD applications. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yes.
Like, you know, mobile money, the star 182, those short codes. So how can we give you access to the world around you using those short codes?
Oh, nice.
So that's what we're currently working on. And then we have a subsidiary that does venture capital investment management. So
actually, that was going to be my next question. So
yes,
go ahead.
we have invested in a couple of businesses, and we are really pushing to grow our portfolio. We want to go into real estate. We want to go into agriculture. We have some investments in agriculture. We have some investments in retail. We want to see if we can expand our portfolio. So you will see a lot of businesses in old usual segments, but doing things slightly different. Okay. Don't be surprised. It's probably us.
So what does it take, by the way? Because I know people are going to go crazy about this one. What does it take for someone to qualify to get capital from you guys?
You need a business with traction.
Okay.
And what traction is basically at least have some revenue and then put together a business plan for the next 5 years. You have to be willing to give us equity and then come into our doors. That's simply it. Make sure that your idea is good, even if it's a generic idea but has a slight tweak to it.
Yes. And I know you also help people to come up with these plans, all the structuring part of it, if they don't know any idea how to do it.
Yeah, we do that for really special cases, unless you are paying us for it. But we're very expensive though, because we are really good. Well, no, we're really good. I have a really good team behind it, but they need to be paid for their services. So that in itself is it's, if you want to walk in and get
could cost all the capital that you're hoping to give.
Exactly. So, but what we would do is, if your idea is really good and it has some traction, and our investors like your idea, what we do is then we invest towards you. We call it knowledge funding. We invest a team towards you to help you build your structure, build your business, improve your business model, and then take your business to the next level.
Perfect. Well, I hope you be ready for people to come knock on your door, because they're coming.
Let them come. Please come.
Well, thank you so much for coming to the show, Ephraim. We hope to have you again very soon. You know, you're a man, or a busy man.
Yes, but I would love to come back.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I like how you did this report. I mean, you know, Ephraim Rwanda, one of the success stories that we have in this country, and, you know, kind of, to me, is a meet the CEO kind of thing.
Yes.
We had missed it. Very smart, the great guy, and, you know, I like the report.
It's always nice to see a young person who's so dedicated to business and developing the country to that extent. It makes you feel, you know, like, you know, moral to do better things. Yeah.
All right, you're watching Rise and Shine's weekly review show. On to sports. Now, our very own Arnold Kwizera delved into the major sports stories from here in Rwanda and around the world. Only 2 years in the sport, and Jean-Claude Wizeye grabbed his maiden win after victory in the Tour of Kigali. Take a look.
He had been dubbed the Sprint King champion, and in the tournament prior to this one, Hadi Janvier was starting to be labeled with the Chokers tag as well, after coming into tournaments as one of the favorites, but disappeared into oblivion. But this wasn't the case over the weekend in the 106-kilometer race for culture event from Nyungwe to Nyanza, as the team benediction rider came home in 2 hours, 47 minutes and 23 seconds for his first national win of the year. With notable riders Valence Ndaisenga and Adrian Nyonshuti skipping the event, all eyes were on Janvier and his team benediction teammate Patrick Byakusenge, with Joseph Biziyaremye expected to challenge the more experienced riders. Hadi broke away with 20 kilometers to go, despite Byakusenge coming a minute close to him, for what later turned out to be a convincing win for Rwanda's Sprint King.
mu by'ukuri ni amahirwe n'imbaraga, burya hari aho umuntu ashoboye gutambika, hari ushoboye kuzamuka. Mu by'ukuri iyo ugize amahirwe ukagera ahatambika, uba ufite amahirwe y'uko ushobora gutsinda, wagera ahazamuka, uzamuka nawe ufite amahirwe y'uko ushobora gutsinda.
With the All Africa Games and Tour de Rwanda around the corner, Hadi will hope that the win will give him momentum to push for the leaders Jaze in Team Rwanda. Arnold Kwizera, Rise and Shine, Rwanda.
All right, Arnold. So it's a good thing that this time around, Coach McIntyre is actually in the country to supervise the team training, because remember last time he had gone to Ireland or Scotland, I don't remember.
Yeah, that was for the under-23 team.
Exactly. So it's really good that he's here, and you know, with Vincent Mashami, but we're having also injury issues, right?
Yeah, the team with the departure of the professionals, Emery Baisenge and Nirisariche. Rwanda had the central defensive partnership tends to change, and when you looked at the game against Ethiopia, because that's the squad you expect to play this friendly fixture up against Gabon, the team that played against Ethiopia, of majority of the players being locally based players. In central defense in particular, we had Foste and Ismail, the APR skipper. But this time around, Ismail is away. The reasons haven't been given, and we didn't even see him in training for the team when it was preparing for that Ghana clash. So I think Shuti Yamagara needs to explain, and he may face disciplinary charges going forward with the Rwandan football, with the Amavubi national team. I think that's why the coach resorted to Mugabo. But you feel, one would feel that, especially the fans will feel maybe there was a need for the summoning of another striker, maybe Savio, you know, who has just joined Rayon Sports, the former Isonga attacker, or Kevin Muhire, the under-23 stalwart, because you feel Rwanda's current problem right now is putting that ball in the back of the net. Even getting a shot on target looks an immaculate task as of right now, when you look back at our past 3-4 fixtures, we don't put as many goals on target as possible. But you're expecting this fixture against Gabon, some players may be given a rest, the likes of Jacques Tuyisenge, the likes of Yannick Mukunzi may be rested, and then the likes of Jihad Bizimana given a chance, to fight for their spot in the Mavubi squad. With the league away, these players have played a lot of football. The APR players, Police Football Club players, they've played a lot of football going, and they've not had pretty much of a restful pre-season with a Gachiro Cup, with the Peace Cup being in the mix. The other ones had to leave for the Sekafa Kagame Cup. So the players haven't had as much rest. Then they have to come back and play the international friendlies and the AFCON qualifiers. So you feel Coach John McKinstry now has a chance to test his squad depth, being that he has set himself that immaculable task of getting 12 points away to 12 points in these AFCON qualifiers, and we have two away fixtures to Madagascar and Mauritania, and then you have the return legs here. To Madagascar and Mozambique, and then you have the return legs here at the Mahoro Stadium against both sides. So 12 points, win 2 home games, and win 1 away game. He will be able to get those 12 points that he has set himself up for.
All right, now, Money Mayweather, he says it's his last fight. I don't believe him, because I've seen Marvin Hagler, I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard, I've seen the great ones never retire. I mean, George Foreman is still fighting. He's in his 50s, Yeah. So I have a hard time believing that. But in this case, it's his last fight. He's fighting against a former world champion. Where do you see the tide leaning towards, and do you believe it's his last fight?
First, let me start with your last question. I too don't believe it's his last fight. I think he will give us that fight number 50 just to go ahead and, have that record to himself as 50 unbeaten fights. That's for his legacy, as he has called this fight again. Andre Bato is just a small, I think it should be a small walk in the park. Maybe Mayweather may finally get that knockout that people have been asking him for. And if he gets that knockout, he will say, I'm still good enough. I think I can still give you one more fight. And I think this last fight is more of about him getting out of that deal with HBO and him being able to sell his own rights going forward. He is a smart gentleman. He explained in a press conference earlier this week that he's looking at his health. He doesn't need to be chasing Bill Gates. But this is Floyd Mayweather. He has retired before and come back, so he can do this for you.
Many times as he wants.
Michael Jordan did it. Jay-Z did it. So
the great ones.
The great ones always do it. So I think fight number 50, we are still going to see a Money vs Mayweather, part 2.
Maybe 3 after that.
Possibly him coming out. Even when you look at his press conferences this week, he's saying after I retire, Pacquiao is going to be the greatest fighter available. It's going to be so hard for anyone to get on my level and Pacquiao's level. That's just setting us up for another fight. Floyd Mayweather has done these things before, and you feel he may come out of retirement maybe mid next year, June next year, and set up a September fight or a May fight, up against Manny Pacquiao, because I still believe they're going to give us that fight number 2, and this time it may be away from Las Vegas, possibly in China, where they're going to rip apart all these numbers and break world records with the amount of money they're going to be getting in.
Why not go to Manila and have a thriller in Manila?
Yeah, a thriller in Manila. I don't think he will want to give him that. He will want to give him that home advantage, but I think Manny Pacquiao will put that on the table. A thriller in Manila part 2. It's these are the Muhammad Alis of our era. The most entertaining fighters we have. Yeah, so Floyd Mayweather against Andrea Bato. Bato has lost 3 of his last 6 fights. With all due respect to the Haitian-born American, he has been suspended for drug-related charges in about 2012. He came back from a very stunning shoulder injury in 2013. So he has had his up and down moments. I don't think he's going to be so much of a challenge. He looks bigger than Floyd Mayweather. We'll see in the weigh-in tomorrow, Friday. Yeah, so you feel Bato shouldn't. His record is not one to be measured up against a pound-to-pound king. Maybe he would rather have given us Marquez.
Absolutely.
Mayweather. So you believe Floyd Mayweather, greatest fighter of his era right now? I hate to admit that, but he's up there.
It is what it is. The numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. 49 unbeaten. He is a great in his own right.
Moving on to tennis, Flushing Meadow, the semifinals. But first, Serena Williams versus Venus Williams last morning. It was, 2 nights ago, if you're counting in North American time. That was something. 3 sets.
3 sets. It was a thrill in its own, but not up for me up there. You know, in the Venus Serena rivalries, Serena coming out to say this is her toughest opponent, and she has every right reason to say so because one, she's her sister. You know, they've played against each other and they
grew up together.
Grew up. Definitely, and they bring out the best in each other. For the record, their mother Price couldn't attend, never attends when they play up again.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
we understand.
When they play each other, but
right.
Serena versus Venus, Serena winning that first set 6-2, going on to lose the second set
6-1.
6-1. Venus was serving at more than 150 meters.
Those aces were going in.
All of them were serving at approximately, their serves were listed at about 200 meters per hour, which is incredible. And they were returning services that were at about 150 meters per hour. And it was only right that Serena won that with an ace, you know, with that last serve that was recorded about 188 meters per hour. That is fast. You know, for all drivers out there, we are only allowed to do 180 at certain points. These guys were serving at 180 and returning at 180. So you feel Serena Williams should go on now. The field has been cut down to her, Simona Halep, Victoria Azarenka, all the people in the semi-finals. She has better records up against 7-1, 15-0. She has a 6-2 against Simona Halep. She has a 15-0 against Victoria Azarenka. So you feel Serena Williams should go on to win, you know,
22nd Grand Slam.
22nd, and you know, tie up the greats.
And tie up Steffi Graf with the calendar slam.
Calendar year and 22 slams, and then go on to look for those 2 more slams to tie up the greatest Martina
Navratilova.
Yeah, Martina Navratilova, who is at 24 Grand Slam titles. Right. Yeah, so that's it from Flashing Meadows so far. Kevin Anderson versus Stanislas Wawrinka early morning today. We'll be bringing in those later on.
All right, Arnold, thank you very much. You're watching Rising China. All right, well, we'll be right back after the break.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Now, this had to be one of my favorite reports this week. Music legend Masamba joined us in studio to discuss this year's Hobe Rwanda Festival. Let's take a look back.
And in our studio now, I'm fortunate and very lucky to welcome Raoul Rugamba, who actually, you know, heralded and who actually is the one behind the whole show, and then one of the greatest artists in this country, Intore Masamba. Mwakoze cyane kwa mwitabiriye ikiganiro cyanjye. Ikiganiro cyacu
cyane kutumire.
Ubwo rero kuba tarashoboye kuza ku cyumweru turi kwa kabiri mu gitondo, nabahaye umunsi wo kuruhuka, uruhutse umuhogo wawe, amakorde vocale. Kuba tarashoboye kuza uriya munsi byari bimeze bite Masamba?
Mu by'ukuri ibirori byarateguwe kandi ibintu byari byiza cyane kuri jewe. Ireba ni gitaramo gishyashya abantu benshi batanamenyereye kuko cyari gitaramo aho abantu bataramaga bitari ngombwa yuko uba wateguye ibindi byuma usibye inanga, kuko burya inanga yabaga iri mu rugo. Hari n'igihe yabikiraga umutware iyo nta bitotsi, iyo ngiyo rero igomba kuba mu rugo. Hanyuma hakabaho n'akantu k'akagoma gatoya. So byasaga nk'ari ibintu rero bimeze nko mu muryango, gutaramira mu muryango. Byanarenga bikajya ahantu hari igicumbi, aho abantu bacanira bakaganira. Ibyo ntabwo byasaba ibintu byinshi bijyanye n'ama-instrument. Nicyo kintu cyiza gishyashya cyari mu Rwanda kitigeze kinabaho, kubera ko abenshi bamenyereye harimo ibyo bikoresho. Usibye ko niyo bihari noneho bibi ikindi gitaramo. Icyo nabikundiye rero nuko byanyibukije ibitaramo twagiye dukora kera tukiri impunzi, bigenda bidufasha mu buryo bwo kumubiriza abantu, mu buryo bwo kwegera abantu, ndetse binazamo no kunoza umugambi wo kugira ngo dushobore gutabarira igihugu cyacu. birero kuri jye harimo ibintu byinshi byarimo byigarura nka filime kandi byari byiza kugira ngo noneho n'abandi cyane cyane urubyiruko rubimenye rubibone ndetse runatahe ruvuga ruti ni ibiki koko biriya ni byiza kutabimenya noneho bakazabimenya ejo bundi nabyo ni ikintu cyiza.
Raoul, nk'uko Masamba bivuze dusanzwe tubizi ku barimo bareba iki kiganiro dusanzwe tubizi ko umuco tuzi ko umuco awuzi ariko nk'abakubona bakavuga bati ni urungano rwa Regis buriya ese umuco awuzi ate ese yari ariho ba Masamba baririmba ziriya ndirimbo zose baririmbye ku cyumweru nimugoroba ese iki gitekerezo cyo kuba wakusanya abantu bangana n'abari bahari ku cyumweru bakaza bakishimira igitaramo nka kiriya ntabwo ndavuga ukuntu hasaga dekoro ukuntu mwari mwayikoze byari bimeze nk'aho turi muri mu cyami cya kera ese nkabiriya mwabitekereje muto?
Mu by'ukuri ntabwo ari akazi k'umuntu umwe ni akazi ka ekipa twicara tukareba uko twabigira ngo abantu baryoherwe iyo bituryoheye natwe ubwacu nibwo tubitanga rero ntabwo ari njye uzi ibintu by'umuco cyane ku buryo tubitegura icyo nkora ngewe negera abantu bakuru nk'aba Masamba hanyuma tukumva uko byagendaga uko bataramaga by'ukuri nk'ibyo uko twabaporopozaga twebwe bwa mbere duhura na ba Masamba twababwiye ko ese ubundi kera iyo bavuga gutarama byagendaga gute tubishyira hamwe tureba indirimbo tureba uko baba bambaye tureba uko baba bicaye tureba aho babaga bari ibyo byose rero nibyo twagerageje guhuza mu marepetisiyo menshi twakoze tugerageza kubihuza na kiriya gitaramo babonye ejo tubona bibaye ibintu byiza cyane twiteguye.
Masamba iterambere ryaraje ejo umunsi wose niriwe nohereza amavideo kuri WhatsApp ababyeyi batashoboye kuba bari mu Rwanda ngo nabo bashobore kuhibera nubwo burya iyo udahari abatari kimwe wanyigishije kubyina nkiri umwana ni ibintu iyo nkubonye buri gihe nkabona ukuntu ari ikintu kikuri mu maraso kitazigera kinakuvamo nkabona umupapa nka Muyango avuga ati murashaka ko mbaririmbira iyi abantu bose batisaba izeze abandi batigisa ko nari mfite ubwoba yuko umuco wenda abantu baba bagenda bawibagirwa uriya munsi niho kweretse yuko bishimishije abantu ko hari ni igitaramo cya kinyarwanda gusa tutavanzemo ibindi by'ahandi.
Oya ikintu cyanshimishije cyane burya rero iyo ntarama cyane cyane audience mbanyegera mbashaka kureba abantu ese barishimye ese byabayobeye ese bageze hehe mu buryo bwo kwishima. Ikintu cyanshimye cya mbere ni uko 90% byari urubyiruko cyo ndabona bakomeye amashyi cyane kuko tugitegura sinasinziraga natekerezaga nti abantu tugiye kwerekana babandi bakuru bahera mu myaka yanjye no kuzamuka bo baranabizi ni nka nostalgie tubasubiriyemo ibintu bazi bibashimishe bamwe barire sava ariko noneho nabonye urubyiruko ruri concentré rumwe rumviriza ibintu rumwe rukurikira bimwe batabyumva bimwe tuvuga imihigo tuvuga ibyivugo ni nko kubacira umugani wabonaga ko no kujya mu mashyi niyo umuntu yagwaga mu nteruro nibwo bavuga bati banza burya bwose arangije ibyo byose byanyerekaga yuko hari icyizere gikomeye cyane ku bana bato ku rubyiruko turimo dushaka kugira ngo dusigire umuco nawo bawukomeze twawuhawe ku buntu n'ababyeyi bacu ntabwo ari ikiguzi natwe tugomba gutanga kugira ngo ibyo bintu biriho nacyo gituma nihuseho gato hari na gahunda nyinshi dutangiye yo kwigisha abana bato aho data yadutangire dufite imyaka 5 dufite 6 ubu nizo gahunda zose twarazitangiye nka gakondo icyo wambajije gikomeye cyane nuko ubu ngubu nshatse naryama ngasinzira kuko nzi neza yuko umuco utagicitse ni nayo yari reve yanjye ni nacyo gitekerezo cyanjye gikomeye cyane kandi tugira n'Imana yuko n'ubuyobozi bwacu ndetse na nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika abishyigikiye abikunda nacyo gituma mureba ibintu bimwe bimwe bikoze mu muco birimo bigaruka agaciro burya twakoze imihigo kuririmba amararo tukarimba za Rwanda tukavuga imihigo murabizi ukuntu biriho yewe n'ibindi byose no kugira ngo none n'abandi mu byivugo tuvuga by'ubutwari kubindashyikirwa kubintwari kwiga ibyo byose ni ibintu ubona ko urubyiruko rufite inyota kandi rubirimo koko ubu nshatse naryama ngasinzira nkavuga nti intambwe ya mbere irabonetse ariko sinakwirara kuko haracyarimo akazi kandi
Raoul iyo turebye mu bitabiriye kiriya gitaramo hari abanyamahanga nk'uko Masamba yavuze urubyiruko rwaje rwose rubyitabiriye ariko runashyizemo n'imbaraga kuko wabonaga bizihiwe cyane bishimye cyane bikiriza indirimbo Minisitiri w'Intebe nyakubahwa Anastase Murekezi yari ahari Minisitiri Valentine Rugwabiza Minisitiri Vincent Ntibiruta Minisitiri wa Minisiteri ya Sport na Jeunesse ese iyo ubonye abayobozi nk'abariya bitabiriye ubutumire bwanyu bakaza bakabatera inkunga yewe no ku mbuga za Twitter n'ahandi twabonye Honorable Louise Mushikiwabo avuga ati ese icyo gitaramo kizajya kiba rimwe mu mwaka gusa cyangwa hari n'ikindi muteganya vuba kugira ngo nawe buriya arumva hari akantu kamucitse ese niye mpunga mukeneye kuko iyi bitekerezo yo izahoraho ariko se ni ubuhe bwoko bw'inkunga umuntu yabaha kugira ngo noneho hobe Rwanda itere imbere kurushaho
ubwo ukuyemo ibyo by'ibitekerezo bwasigaye cy'amafaranga ubwo ni ikintu cyiza cyane kuba twari dufite abantu bakomeye mu gihugu ni ishema kuri evenement y'ubwayo byongera agaciro ka evenement ariko nanone kuri kote yacu kote y'abantu bakora ibintu by'ama event kote y'abantu barwanira ibi bintu by'umuco ni ikintu cyiza cyane gikwiriye kuduhereza ingufu noneho zo kubisunika kuko twari dutangiye kumva ko dusa nkaho dusigaye inyuma rero icyo ngicyo iyo ubonye abantu nka bariya cyongera agaciro kuri kiriya kintu tugiye gushyiramo ingufu hari ama feedback meza twabonye bagiye kuzajya badufasha birenzeho tukanabikura ku cyiciro kimwe tukabitwara ku rundi rwego kuko ibihugu byinshi biri hanze y'u Rwanda hari ibihugu bifite budget nini mu bintu culturel byinjiza amafaranga mu gihugu rero turashaka kubikura kuri niveau yo kumva ko abantu bataramye muri Serena bikarangira aje abantu magana ngahe bikarangira turashaka kubigira kugira ngo n'abanyamahanga aze mu Rwanda ataje kureba ingagi gusa aze azanywe na festival nk'iriya niho dushaka kubiganisha tukanabitwara mu mahanga hanze rero kiriya rero ni ikintu kimwe mu bintu byatugeza kuri izo ntego zacu
Minisitiri wa Sport n'urubyiruko Honorable Julien Wacu yarahibereye ni n'ikintu cyiza cyane cy'uko Masamba yibukije abantu bari baharati ndabizi ko gakondo muri no minsi ntayo mugifite bikaba bituma bayikumbura kurushaho buriya ku cyumweru abantu baje bavuga bati tugiye kongera kubona bya bintu ibintu bari bakumbuye ese ni iki cyakorwa kugira ngo wenda ibi bintu bya noise pollution bitakomeza guteza ikibazo abantu bagashobora kongera kwidagadura nk'uko bidagaduraga buri kuwa gatanu nimugoroba
uvuze iki anabivuze neza Raoul cyane kuko umugambi cyane cyane kugira ngo gakondo ibeho no kugira ngo tuyihimbe nuko twumvaga koko ibyiza u Rwanda rufite byaba mu muco cyangwa se u Rwanda ko ruteye imisozi n'ibintu byose abantu batugenderera batajya bagwa ku Kanombe bakajya mu ngagi cyangwa se bakajya igisozi hari ibindi bintu bashobora mbere yaho bakanyuraho bakishima ndetse n'ayo mafaranga agasigara iyo migambi yose twari twayigize iki nacyo nuko wabonaga ko ibintu by'umuco birimo bicika cyane cyane mu rubyiruko turema gakondo na cyane cyane nshiramo bari abana bato yashaka no gushamo abantu bakuru ariko nabigize nkana kugira ngo bari abana batangire iminsi ya mbere yari igoye ngira ngo rero rabizi n'abandi mwese donc ibi byose byari umugambi kugira ngo turebe ukuntu kiriya kintu kidaducika nyuma haza kiriya kintu waruvuze cyakubwira ko data yangise Masamba Intore none sigaye nca mu muhanda bakanyita noise pollution donc ndumva narahinduye izina c'est frustrant iyo ufite umugambi usanga bigoye. Ntago giyewe nemeranya yuko gakondo isakuza, ntibishoboka. Uko wabibonye ntabwo inanga cyangwa se ingoma cyangwa se ari amajwi asobetse abantu bicaye byarenga uwo ari we wese yaza akabibona. Ndibuka ko abantu bambwiraga ati niyo twabaga turi kuri parking ya Milcoli twumvaga ibyo bintu ariko tugeze mu indani. Ibyo sinabyemera. Ariko rero nkemeranya n'itegeko, n'ibitegeko rivuga riti niko bimeze bigomba kumera bitya, ibyo ni ibintu ntashobora kurenga. Ariko ngasaba noneho ubu kumpaye n'urubuga no gusaba ababishinzwe nyamuneka nibadohoreho gato dutaramira abantu. Nta n'imyaka myinshi igihe numva nsigaje yo kuririmba, ndumva ko muri iyi minsi nshaka kuririmba cyane, buri weekend ndirimba abantu bamenyere hakiri kare, wenda nishobora no kujya no mu bindi kuko urabona imyaka itangiye kuba, sinshaka kuva mu kibuga nasaraye, ndashaka kuva mu kibuga ijwi ryari abantu bavuga ati aracyahari, kandi n'indirimbo zirahari. Ubu ngubu ngiye muri faze yo kujya mu ndirimbo za Sentore, ni nyinshi, yashizeho indirimbo nka 300, hari n'izindi zanjye zitarasohoka, ndashaka kubikora vuba vuba abantu babimenyere. So kumpa urubuga rero ni uburyo bwo kugira ngo noneho nibi byose mpabonere uko mbitanga. Nashimye n'iyo Twitter wavuze ya Minister Mushikiwabo avuga ati ntabwo biriya bintu bigomba kuba rimwe mu mwaka, bizakomeza. Yewe niyo noise pollution tuzareba ukuntu tubijyana muri sale kuko twayijyanye ejo n'ahandi hose, ariko tutaramira abantu bishimye. Nicyo nashaka ku
nongeyeho akantu gatoya, ni kimwe muri concept ya evenement babonye nijoro babashije kuhagera, nuko ari na valeur y'umuco wacu twashatse kugaragaza. Amajwi yacu yonyine nge sindimo y'abahanzi barataramaga bugacya, amajwi yonyine. Ibyo rero nta handi wabibona. Bwira Jay aza gutaramire na battery afite ntiyabishobora. Icyo rero ni ikintu twashaka no kwerekana hanze yuko tushoboye gukoresha bikeya mu byo twari dufite, ariko abantu bakaryoherwa. Ni ibintu rero abantu baje wababonye bishimye cyane, bavuze ati ni gute se umuntu yakoresha instrument ebyiri. Hajemo amakondera basaze noneho, ugasanga ni ikintu badasanzwe bamenyereye, ariko abandi bakiri bato bakavuga ati uziko concert ibaye na battery tubonye, uziko concert ibaye na piano bumiwe. Ariko nicyo kigaragaza yuko culture yacu iri riche n'ibintu ifite. Ntabwo ari ngombwa ko tujya kongeramo ibindi bintu. Ikindi kijyanye na noise pollution dushaka gushiraho, nshaka kuvugaho, ni abayobozi baje, ni akantu keza cyane kiyongereye kuri vision yacu. Dutangira gukora iyi hobe twifuzaga kuyikorera hanze kuri terrain iri Gayara, niko bataramaga kera
na environment gahinduka.
Serena rero nta kantu kangana gutya, turi oblige kuyikoresha kuko nta ahandi ni hato noneho birenze. Rero iyo urebye iyo twibesha tukabishyira hanze, na nubwo twari kurenza saa 9. Ibyo rero ntabwo bitworohereza akazi dukora, nubwo gatunze benshi muri twebwe. Rero iyo ubonye abayobozi nka bariya, malgré yuko twumva ko ari sécurité n'ubundi yacu, ariko nanone ntabwo ari gipadiri. Tugomba kureba kuntu twuzuzanya bikabyara ikintu cyiza twese twakumvikana.
Nanabivuze no mu gitore, ndavuga nti ndabibona ko mwari munyoteye gakondo. Burya urebye na deuxième partie tubivuga tubipanga twashaka kugira ngo tuzamure, kuko igitaramo wareba ko abantu navuze nti turahumuje, mbona abantu bose barandeba bababaye. Noneho dutangira none ngo mpamagaye bari abantu, ubona ko abantu banyotewe koko cya gitaramo. Icyo gituma nabivuze mu gitore nti nabya bindi byo kudukumbura byo reka turebe muri iminsi, tuzasaba yuko batuvugira noneho bikongera bwaruka. Hari abo bayobozi buriya ni mu buryo bwo kubabwira none nabo bakore.
Ako nta kandi kantu nashaka kugarura mu
kubivuga mu gitore.
Ako nta kandi nashaka kugarura mu gutwi. Barambwiye ngo tube dukomeje tuganire, biranshimije cyane, ubwo nabo byabanyuze. Hari ako kantu kuko nkanjye mpava nahavuye mvuga nti mbega igitaramo, ariko gisa ntabwo nayumvise. Nzajya inama nande ntabwo nayumvise. uzaza urebe ntabwo hari indirimbo uvuga uti sinshobora kuhava nzi ko abazihimbye bahari sinahava ntazumvise. Urumva rero nkuko honorable mushiki wabo yavuze ati nta kindi kintu se mutegura, ibaze kongera gutegereza umwaka utaha ukajya ukumva muri CD cyangwa kuri flash ariko udashoboye kukumva kukiyumvira ahantu bagacuranga yewe byanakunda nawe ukajya mukabyina.
Erega wanabivuze neza, amajyambere yaraje, twize munsi y'ibiti turiga turabimenya, nyuma haza amabati turabimenya, tujya mu ishyamba turakotana turatsinda, nibiba ngombwa tuzajya dufata kiriya gitaramo tugishyire kwa kanaka, tumire abashaka dufate kwa kanaka, niba koko hari ikibazo cya noise pollution. Wenda abantu bashobora kubireba neza, ubu n'ubutumwa abantu baba batanga barebe neza kuko ibiri mu muco wacu wa Kinyarwanda dushaka kugira ngo abana bacu babyige bibagirire akamaro. Indangagaciro twirirwa tuvuga muri disikuru wenda no kwa radio, inyinshi burya zica mu ndirimbo, zica muri no muri iriya mivugo. Byakoroha cyane kwihuta kumvikana kurusha uko ababitegura mu kubivuga muri disikuru cyangwa se muri za radio babyohereza. Iyo baje bakadusanga hari ibyo tuvuga nk'ibyo byose bavuga uzaza urebe u Rwanda rw'Abanyarwanda. Genza abantu benshi bari baranangiye gutaha, bari hano wenda bazaguhana témoignage, batashye bamaze kumva iriya iyo mvuga Ruhengeri na Gisenyi hose haragendwa, umuntu akavuga ati ariko uyu nguyu uko turirimbira ibintu hari abantu batafite n'amakuru, ugeze ibure usanga abantu bafite amakuru, none iyo bambonye bakumva ibimbarimba bavuga ati wow byawe n'ibyo bagataha. Wavuga tuzaza ureba u Rwanda rw'Abanyarwanda, nzajya inama nande kujya hamwe, gushyira hamwe, ibyo byose bigatuma umuntu yumva koko afite inyota y'u Rwanda. Ibyo rero byakagombye kugira aho babisanga kugira ngo noneho n'ubwo butumwa bw'ingamba zijyanye na leta, bw'ingamba zose zijyanye na sosiyete bishobore kubona uko tubivuga mu gitore, mu gihanzi, kandi bisakare mu bantu byihuse.
Nawe nkwereka akantu mbere yuko turangiza iyi segment. Ndi ingangare ya Mutanguha Mirindi y'abasore rubanziriza Gabundi umuhungu wemeye imihigo.
Ahubwo rero
ndi rugaragara ku rugamba rukomeye sintinya gukotanya uko birivuze.
Nuko
ndi rwema rw'abahizi nkubito y'abato nkubita ingamba zikerekeranye.
Nkunze kuri umunyeshuri mwiza.
Masamba intore nawe urugamba murakoze cyane kandi tuzagombe gutegereza umwaka utaha.
Tubyize.
You saw me getting my
you were in the mood.
Right.
I mean, Masamba is a great artist, one of the greatest artists that we have in the country at the moment. Oh, hey, of all time, actually.
Absolutely.
He's amazing, and I like the fact that he never ceases to take an opportunity to sing and get in the mood and the rhythm.
The great part of the whole thing is, I think this is one of the few times since we started doing the show that our executive producer was telling me, keep going on. Keep going.
I know.
Was that good. Everybody was a fan of the whole thing.
Yeah, and you were having a blast, and that was really good.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'd love to have your feedback, so do let us know if you have an idea for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Fidelis Karan. We'll be back here same time, same place on Mondays. So do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine Rwanda team, have a very good day and an even better weekend.
Right.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.